The chapter opens with a young man named Keisuke Nijima, who works in the sales department. He's in a business meeting, presenting a new electronic payment method. After hearing Nijima's proposal, the boss looks unconvinced. However, the atmosphere shifts when a young woman stands up and expresses her support for the idea, saying she sees great potential in it. Following this, they begin testing the idea in a few local businesses as part of a small trial period. As they walk back afterward, Nijima thanks Takai for accompanying him. His stomach growls loudly, revealing his hunger, and he mentions that he couldn't eat breakfast due to his nerves. Takai laughs and comes up with a quick idea. She takes him to a park and shares her homemade lunch with him. Nijima is amazed by the taste of her food and happily tells her how delicious it is. Seeing his joyful reaction, Takai is pleased, as she's never seen anyone enjoy a meal with such enthusiasm. That night, while at home, Nijima struggles to find the right way to thank Takai. He thinks that simply thanking her without asking her out might be enough, but in the end, he decides to take a chance and sends her an invitation exactly as he'd written it. He's surprised when Takai responds positively. Years go by, and we see Nijima and Takai get married and have a daughter named Mai. The passage of time is shown through Mai growing from a child to a teenager, while Nijima and Takai seem to live a very happy life. It's clear how much Takai cares about her husband, lovingly making him lunch every day because she believes it helps her worry less about him. However, something changes, and through a few scenes, we see a saddened and dejected Nijima. It seems all those happy moments were just memories. We return to the present, where Nijima is sitting on a bench with a sad expression as he answers a call. He mentions that it's been 10 years. At the office, the sales manager gives Nijima a small memento from a trip and asks him to share it with his daughter. He also takes the opportunity to invite Nijima out for a drink, saying it's been a long time since they last hung out, but Nijima declines the offer and apologizes. Just before arriving home, Nijima reflects on how, 10 years ago, his life came to a halt. After arriving home and having dinner with his now-grown daughter, we see a flashback of Nijima frantically running through a hospital. When he reaches his daughter, it's revealed that Takai had passed away. At that moment, the sound of the doorbell brings us back to the present. A little girl is at the door, quickly announcing that she's back. Nijima, utterly confused, asks if she's at the wrong house. The girl assures him that this is her home, and she introduces herself as Takai Nijima, his wife. After a brief questioning, the young girl correctly answers all the personal questions Nijima asks, from memories about their daughter to the moment when he proposed. Even so, the situation remains baffling for all three of them, but Takai believes it's a result of reincarnation, as she died 10 years ago, which happens to be her current age now. Although she doesn't remember much, she says that everything suddenly came back to her. Nijima comes to realize that she really is his wife, as her personality and manner of speaking are exactly the same. After this, Takai is thrilled that they've finally recognized her, and immediately begins scolding them for the poor eating habits they've developed since she passed away. After chatting for a bit, Takai mentions that she has to leave as it's time to return to her current home. However, she promises to make them lunch on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Before leaving, she admits that even though this whole situation may seem strange, she's happy to see them both after so long and promises to return. As Nijima watches her go, he can't hold back his tears and runs after her, hugging her tightly. He tells her how much he's missed her, how much she's meant to him. Despite this, Takai gently reminds Nijima that he needs to focus on their daughter and get himself together. He should have moved on by now. She also tells him that he needs to change his attitude and show that he has a future ahead of him, as her return is a miraculous second chance. With that, Takai lifts both their spirits and says goodbye. Nijima and Mai quickly pull themselves together and vow to work hard to move forward. The next day, Nijima appears much more cheerful, being proactive and kind to his co-workers, who are surprised by his sudden change in attitude. Afterward, Nijima eagerly heads to breakfast. He tells himself he never thought he'd be able to taste Takai's cooking again. As he begins to eat, a woman approaches and asks if she can sit next to him. It's Moriya, a co-worker. Surprised by his newfound cheerfulness, she asks if something good has happened recently. Without going into detail, Nijima tells her he's regained something very important to him, and because of that, he's found the will to live again. Moriya admits that she noticed him because of his smile, as she's never seen him smile before. Realizing what she's just said, she apologizes. They start eating, and Nijima asks if Moriya makes her own breakfast. She replies that she does, though she thinks she might be the only one who does. Nijima compliments her, saying he admires people with the discipline to cook every day. It reminds him of his wife. Touched by his words, Moriya thanks him and asks if he'd be her lunch partner, explaining that his motivation has inspired her to cook more and she'd love to share meals with him again. Nijima happily agrees. Later that day, Takai meets up with Nijima. She's struggling with her new phone and complains that her small hands make it hard to use. Unable to resist, Nijima snaps a few pictures of her, thinking she looks adorable and wanting to set her as his phone wallpaper. When Takai notices, she asks him to delete the photos, warning him that it's weird and could even get him arrested. At that moment, Mai arrives, fresh from job hunting. Takai can't help but admire her daughter, telling her how beautiful she looks. Meanwhile, Nijima, excited, gets up and announces he's going to make katsudon, while Takai and Mai watch him fondly. The next day, Takai waits outside Nijima's house with a packed lunch for him to take to work. He's thrilled to receive the meal, admitting he didn't think she would come. Takai brushes it off, saying it's just leftovers from the night before, but Nijima doesn't believe her, and jokes that she must have been dying to see him. Takai shivers at his teasing. At work, Moria mentions that she prepared 2 lunches, so Nijima decides not to refuse her food and saves Takai's lunch for later. Later, tired of waiting for Nijima, Takai leaves as it's getting late. While walking through the park, she spots Nijima eating the lunch she prepared and confronts him. When she asks why he didn't eat it at work, Nijima explains that someone else brought him lunch and he thought it would be a good chance to socialize, so he accepted. Takai quickly asks if the person was a woman, how old she was, and whether she was single. She thinks Nijima is oblivious for not realizing what's going on, but Nijima has no idea what she means. Takai then asks if he feels embarrassed eating in the park. Nijima admits he does, but he'd rather do that than let her efforts go to waste. He adds that the worst part is not being able to say his wife lovingly made the meal for him. Takai tells him not to say that out loud, or people might think he's strange. Recalling everything he lost when she passed, Nijima kneels down and tells Takai that he wants to cherish every moment with her and never lie to himself again. In this way, it becomes clear that Nijima truly loves his wife. The family is enjoying a wonderful day at the aquarium. Mai, for her part, is happy they can spend time together, to which Takai responds that it's been more than 10 years since they did something as a family, so they should just have fun and enjoy themselves. Meanwhile, Nijima feels like this is all a dream, as the peaceful day off seems surreal to him. As he reflects on this, tears of happiness begin to fall. Takai notices and playfully punches him, telling him to calm down. Later, while mother and daughter chat about Mai's job situation, Takai tries to encourage her daughter not to get discouraged, assuring her that she will find her place little by little. At that moment, Nijima interrupts, agreeing with Takai and adding that Mai is the sun that brightens their lives. As Takai enjoys her ice cream, she reflects on how, since regaining the memories of her past life, she has started spending more time with Nijima and Mai, just like she used to. However, no matter how much fun they have together, at the end of the day, they each go back to separate homes. A few days later, while feeding Nijima, Takai seems restless. Nijima quickly notices and decides to pay for all the lunches he has made for her. However, Takai is shocked by the amount of money he wants to give her. He insists that it is too much and points out that it would be suspicious for an elementary school girl to have that much money, so he only accepts 1,000 yen. At work, Nijima talks to Mariah, who mentions that he spent a day with his family at the aquarium. Mariah wonders if when Nijima says family, he means his daughter's family, but Nijima quickly clarifies that his daughter is still single and just looking for a job. They simply needed a change of scenery. As Nijima prepares to eat, he briefly wonders if it's really okay for Takai to be in elementary school, considering she's actually around 40 years old. Now we follow Takai at school. Things seem to be going well until a small argument breaks out among her friends. Takai steps in as a mediator, and in the end, it turns out to be just a simple misunderstanding between the kids. However, Mayumi tells Takai that talking with her makes her feel old, and that boys don't like bossy girls, so she'll never get married. Just then, a boy named Takeru appears and says that he likes her just the way she is. After school, Takeru insists on walking Takai home. He mentions that she seems different, as if she's happier now. He also tells her that he was worried about her, and brings up the fact that she changed her last name last year. Despite this, he's glad to see her doing well. When Takai gets home, she remembers that her parents divorced last year, though she doesn't remember much from that time. Luckily, she's home alone now. This brings back memories of a few days ago, when her mother confronted her after her day at the aquarium. Her mother asked her why she came home so late, where she'd been, and who she'd been with. She then asked how Takai was able to pay for her outing. Takai told her that she'd been saving up the lunch money her mother gave her, but this answer didn't sit well with her mother, who demanded the leftover money. After giving her mother a handful of coins, her mother said that it wasn't enough and accused her of hiding more money in her room. She then proceeded to search Takai's room. This alarmed Takai, as she had a phone hidden in one of her drawers that she used to communicate with Nijima. After making a mess of Takai's room and even pushing her, her mother was about to open the drawer with the phone inside. At that moment, his mother received a call about work. which put an end to his search. When he returned, his mother warned Takai not to lie to her again or things would get worse. Back to the present. After remembering everything, Takai wonders if reconnecting with the Nijima family was a good idea after all. Meanwhile, Nijima is having a conversation with his daughter. He asks if she would like to do something during the summer. Mai replies that she would love to go on vacation, but it would be complicated because of her mother. Nijima agrees, but suggests that maybe she could ask her parents for permission. Mai quickly points out that no parent would let their child go on vacation with strangers. After hearing this, they decide to do something for just one day, but first, they need to ask Takai what day she would be available. Takai, aware of her complicated situation with her mother, knows they won't be able to meet for a while. However, she overhears her mother talking about a trip, so she tells Nijima that she'll be free on July 28th. Immediately, Mai realizes the date seems special. Nijima excitedly starts planning a bunch of family activities for that day, overflowing with happiness. Takai, on the other hand, reflects on everything that's happening. She mentions that she only wanted to see how her family was doing, but seeing how Nijima hasn't been able to get over her death, she couldn't resist getting involved. However, she now has a new family, her new mother, and she knows that if her relationship with her old family were discovered, it would be disastrous. Therefore, she decides that the next time they meet, she will tell them they can never see each other again. During the outing, they first decide to take a picture, which Takai asks them to send to her later. However, Nijima notices something different about her. After that, they play some nearby games where Nijima gets stuck, but Takai quickly comes to his rescue. After enjoying a few more activities, they take a break. Takai can't stop thinking about when would be the right moment to tell them they won't be able to see each other anymore. Mai notices her mother is acting strange and asks if she's okay, or if she's tired, but Takai tries to hide her unease. At that moment, Nijima grabs Takai from behind and lifts her onto his shoulders, saying how lucky he is to be able to carry his wife piggyback. Takai quickly tells him to put her down, insisting that piggyback rides are for kids, and in her case, he should carry Mai instead, but Mai says that would be even worse. After a long day, they finally return home. Considering whether to order something for dinner, they decide not to. Soon, Takai sits down and gazes at Nijima, remembering everything that has happened since she returned. She knows the Nijimas have been very kind to her and have made her very happy. Just as she's about to tell them the truth, the lights suddenly go out, and they see Mai holding a small cake. It turns out that the day was her old birthday, and Nijima and Mai had remembered it, as they could never forget such an important date. Despite everything, they are still family. After blowing out the candles, they decide to turn on the lights, but Takai says she needs to go to the bathroom, so she offers to turn them on herself. Nijima and Mai wonder if this celebration helped cheer her up a bit, as they noticed she seemed off all day. Nijima suggests that she is probably going through a tough situation, not to mention everything else she's facing right now. They recall how she used to be, strong, but always keeping her problems to herself. Now, the only thing they can do is support and help her however they can. Takai, overhearing everything they're saying, can't hold back her tears. Later, we see the three of them enjoying the cake together. Mai asks her mother what it was that she wanted to tell them. Takai quickly responds that she just wanted to thank them for today's celebration. Mai, in turn, thanks her while starting to cry. In an instant, all three of them begin crying, as it's a very emotional moment for them. Takai reflects. She has no idea why she was reincarnated, but she knows she wants to be with them, as they are the sun that brightens her life. If you've reached this point in the video, don't forget to leave the word exquisito in the comments. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.